What if the world around you, the news you watch, the trends you follow, the debates you engage in, isn't as organic as it seems? What if reality, as you perceive it, has been carefully engineered? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grumpy Acres. I'm Grumpy. I'll be hosting this tonight. Tonight, we've got the next video in what I like to call the Second Chance to Say No series. Today, we're going to be diving into the concept of engineered reality, a manufactured perception of the world that is designed to influence what we believe, how we act, even who we are. This is not just about propaganda or media. It's about the systemic shaping of reality itself. Before we get started, say hi to everybody in the chat. We got Tamara's here, Skainsgirl's here. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me tonight. Let's give me a 5x5 if the sound is okay. Got a cat jumping on my lap. Wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody else pops in. This topic is very pertinent today. I actually thought about not doing this presentation itself because there's so much going on in the world today that's being propagandized that I almost derailed the series just so I could talk about some of the stuff. But I decided we're going to stick with it. And so we're going to look at engineered reality. And tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to cover how narratives are created, the role of institutions in shaping perception, the illusion of choice and free thought, and how to break free from engineered reality. All right, guys, you ready to begin? All right, first thing we're going to talk about is how narratives are created, okay? Every major event you see in the news, every social movement, every cultural shift follows a structured narrative. These narratives don't arise naturally. They are crafted with a purpose. Here's some things I want you to consider. Why do certain stories dominate news cycles while others disappear? Why do social movements suddenly gain momentum, even when the issue they addressed has existed for decades? And finally, why do crises always seem to follow the same predictable pattern of response? And we see this on a daily basis here recently. It just seems like it's never ending. Well, the answer lies in what's called an agenda-driven storytelling. Institutions, the government, media, conglomerates, and corporate interests shape narratives to direct public thought. They do this by several means. First, framing the debate. They decide what is acceptable to discuss and what is fringe or dangerous. We saw that during the 2020 pandemic, right? Next thing is repetition, pushing the same message until it becomes an unquestioned truth. It's called telling the big lie. The third one is controlling opposition, allowing limited dissent to create the illusion of free thought while keeping the real conversation off limits. How many times do we see that in today's world? Say hi. We got a couple more people that popped in. We got Terminator here. Virginia Roots is here. Glad you guys could make it. If you missed the first part, we are talking about engineered reality, and we just got done discussing how narratives are created. We're also going to talk about the role of institutions in shaping perception, the illusion of choice and free thought, and how to break free from engineered reality. Okay, so the role of institution in shaping your perception. The institutions of power, governments, corporations, academia, and media work together to engineer reality. Each plays a role in reinforcing the approved narrative. First, let's talk about the media. The media selects which events to highlight, how to frame them, and what emotions to trigger. And it's gotten to the point now to where the media is even telling you that you don't need to do the research yourself. They will tell you what the truth is. Academia. Academia processes research or produces research that supports the desired perspective and marginalizes opposing viewpoints. Actually had an incident recently in Britain where somebody did a study on transgenderism, and the results did not fit the narrative they wanted to push forward. So they didn't even release the results of the study, even though it contradicted everything. So they were literally picking and choosing what supports the narrative and what doesn't. The next one is the government. It uses laws, policies, and official statements to validate the narrative. We saw that a lot during the Biden administration, but it happened in all, even the Republican administrations. And finally, the corporations. They enforce social and cultural norms through advertising, hiring practices, and economic pressure. We see that with the social media platforms like YouTube and what used to be Twitter. We see that BlackRock has had a policy of pushing certain agendas, and the CEO came out and said that they have to punish people in order to get them to think the proper way. Here's a good example. In times of crisis, you'll notice synchronized messaging across all platforms. Have you ever seen the montages of the newscasters all reading the same script? This isn't by accident. It's by design. When every institution is saying the same thing, it gives the illusion that the dissenting views are irrational, conspiratorial, and even dangerous. Can anybody say ivermectin? Can we say how they demonize people that spoke about ivermectin and said they wanted to eat horse paste? Here's the question. Here, I want you guys in chat, see if you can answer this. Can you recall a time when different media outlets or institutions seem to be saying the exact same thing, regardless of their unusual or usual circumstances or differences? I'm sorry. Give me an example that you can think off the top of your head, and more importantly, let everybody know how it made you feel about the information you were receiving. I have a pretty good idea that I know how people are gonna answer about how it made them feel. So this information, whenever they frame it this way, is meant to provoke a response, and most people will automatically get the response that they're looking for. But there are some people that are wired just a little bit different, and they process the data differently, and it makes them suspicious. And those are the ones that they call conspiracy theorists, and they say are dangerous or even crazy. All right. Okay, so let's go on to, well, we are ripping through this. This is a really, really easy one to do, isn't it? You can't believe anything the mainstream media news says. Yeah, this is true. This is true. And we're going to go into how to fight it and free yourselves a little bit later. Okay, so now let's talk about the illusion of choice and free thought. Many people believe they're free thinkers. I bet some of you people in the audience think you're free thinkers. How often have you truly questioned the foundations of your belief? Seriously. Amber says she's a conspiracy theorist. How often do you question your beliefs and take a real assessment of the validity of what you believe in? I'll venture to guess that most people don't do it on a regular basis. I'm going to admit I didn't do it until a certain point. After that, I'm in the same boat as Tamber, where I look at everything with a jaundiced eye, and I look to reaffirm my beliefs through digging up the facts and seeing what's actually going on. Yeah, Virginia Roots gets her tinfoil in a 2,000 square foot rolls at Costco. Well, Tamara, there's a lot of people out there that know what they believe, and what they believe is wrong. I'm not saying that's you. I'm saying you. What was it? You don't know what you don't know, type of thing. But yeah, I mean, if we could all get to the point where we feel confident in what we believe in, with facts backing up, that'd be great. So in today's America, you're given two political choices, and both are backed by the same powerful interests. The Republicans and Democrats are different wings on the same vulture, and the powers that support them and drive them are the ones that tell them what to do. All right. So we are, as a society, as citizens, we're encouraged to debate minor issues, but the core assumptions remain unquestioned. Can any of you think of an example of minor issues that people quibble over that really, at the end of the day, don't really matter to the big picture? You know, I can think of one right now that almost every guy that you know, well, every guy that's not a soy boy falls victim to at some point, and that's sports. How much time, money, and effort is put into sports radio and people discussing their favorite sports ball team, right? And we're also told we have free speech, but only within the limits of acceptable discourse. You know, I'm on YouTube, so I'm going to use YouTube as an example. They sold themselves as proponents of free speech, but during the pandemic, they censored material and ideas that ran counter to the narrative. They did it. And most major media outlets and social media platforms did the same thing. But these three things together equate to the illusion of choice. A controlled reality doesn't need to outright ban alternative ideas. It simply makes them either invisible, ridicules them, or demonizes them. Sports is scripted entertainment. Yeah, a lot of it is. Yes. You know, this reality that they create that we just talked about that doesn't ban ideas but makes them invisible and ridicules them and demonizes them. This creates a mental prison where people police their own thoughts and enforce the engineered reality on others. Those who step outside the narrative are labeled as extremists, conspiracy theorists, and threats to society. How often do we see that today? And you know, I'm using a lot of examples coming from the left side of politics, but let's be completely honest about it. The right side of the political spectrum does the same exact thing, maybe not as viciously or as hard, but it still does the same thing. You want to put my theory to test? Go contradict somebody who is a diehard Trump believer. They will do the same exact thing that the liberal media does to peoples that go against them. All right. So here's the question. Here's the question for this one. When was the last time you challenged the basic assumptions behind your political or social beliefs? Can you recall any time when you felt you were simply going along with the mainstream narrative? I know that there's not a single person in here that at one point or another did not fall victim to this engineered reality. If you never fell victim to it, then you're a very unique person in this world, because the whole idea of the engineered reality and the tactics they use are scientifically proven to work against the human psyche. And it's important that we understand how this happens. That's why these first 3 points were put out there, is so that we can understand how it's happening. All right. Now, once we get to where we can recognize this stuff and we realize what's happening, biggest thing is you're never going to be able to unsee it. You're always going to start seeing these things as you go down this path to opening your eyes, and you're going to see it more and more often. All right. So the final part of the story tonight is, how do we break free from engineered reality? So how do we escape? Seriously, how do we see the world as it truly is, rather than how it is presented to us. There's 5 points here, and I'm sure that we could come up with a lot more, but there's 5 points here that are really crucial to breaking free from this mental prison. First one, question the framing. Whenever you hear a news story, ask, why is this being reported this way? What's not being said? Simple fact of the matter is, any news story is biased by the organization and the person that's reporting its bias, and you need to question if that's the whole story. And this is one of the things that I like about the internet, is we're able to go out and find these alternative reporting of these stories, right? Number 2, who benefits from a particular narrative? What industries, political groups gain power? Black Lives Matter is a good example. Who got power through that whole summer of love, the fiery but mostly peaceful summer of love that we had? Who got power and who was paying for it? Who's paying for all the protests and riots that are happening now? And yes, there are riots going on. They're not being reported on, but they are happening. So who's paying for all this stuff? The third one, diversify your information sources. This is key. Challenge your own views by engaging with alternative perspectives. Number 1, why do we want to challenge our own views? Why do we not want to stick with just one information source? Can anybody tell me? It's a two-word answer, and it's, I guarantee if you think about it, you'll be able to figure out what it is. But one of the reasons I like Ground News, and they're not supporting me. Hey, Ground News, if you run across this and you want to sponsor the channel, I'm here. You can contact me. Echo Chamber, absolutely. I knew one of you were going to get it. I knew one of you were going to say it. An echo chamber. And anybody that doesn't know what an echo chamber is, that's a bubble that's created by people all saying the same thing, and you end up what you do is people end up going into these echo chambers because they reinforce their existing beliefs. All right. And one thing with Ground News and things like that is they will literally show you what angle, either left, center, or right, at any given news topic is being reported. All right, here, this is an important one. This is an important one. Resist emotional manipulation. If a headline is designed to make you angry, afraid, or outraged, ask yourself, who gains from my reaction? The biggest one example of this that I can think of is 9/11 and the Patriot Act. Who benefited by passing the Patriot Act in the wake of all the fear and outrage from the 9/11 attacks? It wasn't the American people. It most definitely was not the American people. 25 years, 24 years, however much it's been, has taught us that. So who gains from your reaction? And once you figure out what your reaction is, what do you do to change it, to unmanipulate your emotions? All right, give me some ideas in the chat on how we unemotionalize ourselves from topics. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to talk about the fifth one. Think independently. Do not let institutions dictate what is acceptable to believe. Reality is far more complex than the simple narratives they provide. Now, this goes back to something I say all the time. There's your truth, there's my truth, and then there's the truth. And the key through all 5 of these things is to align our truth with the truth. And the truth is what's verifiable and immutable. It doesn't change. We are human animals, and We are ruled by emotions, and it's hard to get close to the truth sometimes, because a lot of times the truth is very painful and it goes completely against the grain of what we believe. Okay, so here is the question for breaking free. When you hear a news story, do you ever stop and think, what's missing here? What's not being said? Who benefits from the way the story is framed? If you don't do it, you should do that every time you see a story. This is one of those things. Okay, put a one in the comments if you've ever read a Babylon Bee satire piece without looking at the source and thought it was real and formed an opinion on the topic based on a Babylon Bee story. I'm raising my hand right here. I'm guilty of this. It's happened to me. Happened to me before, and so this is one of the things that I do. I always look at the source before I read something, because it's so easy. The reality today is so close to the overtop satirical slant that the Babylon Bee puts on things, that you have a hard time telling what's real and what's unreal unless you really look at it with a clear eye. So Virginia says she's never fallen victim to it. Well, like I said, I have. Makes you feel like a dummy. Okay, so here's the conclusion and the call to awareness that we've got going on. This is the takeaway from this video, and I appreciate you guys being here. We're getting close to the end here. So the reality you experience is not always the reality that exists. Truth is not what you are told. It's what you uncover. It's aligning your truth with the truth. The world is run by those who understand how to shape perception. If you don't recognize this, you are a pawn in their game. But if you do, you gain something far more valuable than blind certainty. You gain the ability to see beyond the illusion and reclaim your own mind. If you found this video eye-opening, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with other people and hit that like button. Comment down below. If you've watched all the way through this video, comment down below and tell me what you think about this topic. And if you have any other ways that we can come up to fight this mental prison that they try to build around us, put it down in the comments, okay? If you've made it this far and you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing. We talk about things like this. We talk about freedom and liberty and homesteading and preparedness and all the moving parts that go towards living a life done free. If you want to help the channel, the affiliate links down below. Go get yourself something that will help you be more self-independent, self-reliant, food independent, whatever. And by doing that, you're helping us by using those links. Okay, guys, listen, like I said, I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you, Hogs. And Can Squatch popped in too. Keep sharing with everybody. Yes, we need to spread this message far and wide. This is one of those. The whole reason why I'm doing this second chance series is because I want to arm people with the tools to go out and fight what's going on. Because the more people that we can open their eyes, and we need to do it. This is a tangential to tonight's thing. We want to do this without making them feel stupid or being obnoxious about it. That's one thing that just turns people off quicker than anything. So I always talk about painting a better picture, and these tools help us paint a better picture. You know, you are going to run into people that get angry with you because you're going to be challenging their perception that they have. You're going to be challenging core beliefs that they have, and understand that it's okay for them to be upset about it, but you need to be aware of that, and you need to be attempting to redirect them. I had somebody, and this is really, quite honestly, this is pretty close to apologetics with the Christian religion. And I had somebody that was very good at it tell me, if you run into people like this, ask them questions. Ask them questions about themselves and make them frame their answers in context of their own lives, because then it personalizes it, and they are more apt to not get upset, and they'll want to, not everybody, but a lot of people will engage in thoughtful conversation at that point. All right. Listen, you guys got anything else that you want to talk about? Next Wednesday is a preparedness continuum video. I think you guys are going to enjoy it, because we're getting into discussing each one of the, not the stages on the continuum, but we're going to talk about each one of the people that make up the continuum. We're going to talk about the people instead of the continuum itself. I think you're going to find it interesting, because I broke it down. And we're going to do a little deep dive into it. Well, thank you very much, Beth Emily. I enjoy you guys being here, and I enjoy the interaction. Listen, let's close out. I'm going to say what I always say. I need you guys to go out tomorrow, and when you lay your head on the pillow, you should be better off preparedness-wise or homesteading-wise than you were when you woke up. And go out and live a life done free tomorrow. Okay, guys?
Survival isn't just about having the right gear, it's about mindset. In a world without the rule of law, what will you do to survive? WROL isn't just a game, it's a tool to hone your preparedness and survival mindset. Test your instincts, outthink, outlast, and outmaneuver your opponents in a world that's fallen apart. With WROL, every card you play challenges your thinking, tests your adaptability, and sharpens your ability to make tough decisions under pressure. Whether you are planning for an everyday emergency or prepping for the end of the world, WROL helps you prepare for the chaos of everything in between. Ready to level up your survival skills? Click the link in the description to order your deck of WROL cards today and start building your SHTF mindset. The apocalypse starts here.